Ladies and gentlemen, the officiating crew for today's match is: the referee is J.C. Griggs. The assistant referees are Tom Felice and Amilcar Sikahu. The fourth official is Luis Arroyo. And now, today's starting lineup for the visiting Swope Park Rangers. The goalkeeper, number 18, Eric Dick. Defender, number 26, Jalen Lindsay. Defender and captain, number 16, Graham Smith. Defender, number 42, Justin Villieu. Defender, number 92, Alexander. Midfielder, number 75, Juan Cuisine. Midfielder, number 85, Felipe Hernandez. Midfielder, number 98, Ayub Allah. At forward, number 23, Tyler Freeman. Forward, number 96, Wilson Harris. And at forward, number 39, Jerome Engam Mbukele. The head coach for the Swope Park Rangers is Mr. Paulo Nagamura. And today, the starting lineup for your New York Red Bulls 2. The goalkeeper, number 24, Evan Lauro. Defender, number 37, Alan Yanis. Defender, number 15, Sean Nealis. Defender, number 35, Jordan Scarlett. Defender, number 91, Reese Buckmaster. Midfielder, number 80, Chris Lemma. Midfielder, number 8, Jean-Christophe Kofi. Midfielder, number 88, Vincent Vizicoy. And forward, the captain, number 22, Florian Below. Forward, number 74, Tom Marlowe. And at forward, number 11, Marcus Epps. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the New York Red Bulls 2 is Mr. John Wallenick.
Welcome to Montclair, New Jersey for the opener of the 2019 USL Championship. New York Red Bulls 2, for the first time ever in the Eastern Conference, hosting Swope Park Rangers. Welcome everybody to MSU Soccer Park USL Championship 2019 season opener kicking off on ESPN+. David Goss and Steve Jolly joining you here as these two teams are out and ready to go. New York Red Bulls 2 coming in off 3 straight Eastern Conference championships, hosting the Swope Park Rangers, who are switching conferences. And we take a look back at last year before we look forward, Steve, for New York Red Bulls 2, another strong season.
Another strong season. If anything, this team has been consistent, especially over the leadership of John Wolniak. They keep on coming to, at least in the final third of the season, really put some pieces together, and I think that has a lot to do with their formation and their system.
And for Swope Park Rangers, Western Conference semifinals last year, so 3 great years in USL as well. Let's take a look at the star players for today. And on the Swope Park Rangers side, Juan Kuzain, a young player, but an MLS experienced player.
A lot of experience here in USL, but also some experience in MLS, and he's a technical player, and you're going to see him a lot on the ball today.
And he's going to be pressed throughout this game by New York Red Bulls 2, but for Red Bulls 2, one of the leaders emerging from this team, homegrown goalkeeper Evan Loro, backstopping them once again.
Yeah, he's been a model of consistency here. He's gotten some experience with Mara on the first team going down. This is a player that Red Bull in totality really respects and enjoys what he brings to the locker room, but also on the field.
29 starts, 5 shutouts last year. Can he get one to start out 2019? New York Red Bulls 2, the second highest scoring team in the league last year, hosting Swope Park Rangers for what will be a good one here at MSU Soccer Park, a rematch of the 2016 USL Championship. It was Swope Park Rangers' first year, and they fell to the sword 5-1 in that final. Which of these teams maybe can get there in 2019? We'll start to see in just a few moments USL Championship Soccer coming up on ESPN+.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Brian White gets his first of the game.
Lancaster denied by Loro.
His low shot off the post and in. Jared Stroud's got his hat trick. New York Red Bulls 2 take a 4-goal lead. Pleasantries done pregame. We are ready to go here at MSU Soccer Park. David Goss and Steve Jolly on the call for you. Let's take a look at the starting lineups. And firstly, we look Swope Park Rangers, captained by Graham Smith at center back.
Graham Smith at center back, but you also see a familiar name in Bill Yu. He'll be a stabilizing force in the middle of the field, along with that spine of Kuzain we talked about. Dick in goal, and obviously at the very end, you got Mbukele, who a lot of talent right there, a lot of technical ability. The Ghanaian is always a dangerous force.
And Mbukele coming over on loan, Jalen Lindsay, MLS player as well on loan. Let's take a look at the New York Red Bulls 2 starting lineup. A lot of familiar names.
Yeah.
from last year, but a big one, Florian Velo, wearing the captain's armband, returning from his ACL surgery last year.
Obviously, a lot of attention is going to be on Bezecourt and Velo. These are two talented players that you've seen some first-team action. Nealis is starting to get some first-team action as well. Kofi is a stabilizer and a force in the midfield, and obviously we talked about him a little bit before, Lauro in goal.
Reese Buckmaster, one of the new signings out of the MLS Super Draft, a part of this team as well. John Wolyniec, 5 seasons, 5 playoffs, 3 straight Eastern Conference Finals. Model of success right now in USL.
He's a legend there for the Metro Stars and also Red Bull. He's a legend here now because he's done a tremendous job for this team.
Speaking of legends, Paulo Nagamura. Trophies, trophies, trophies. Scored in the PK Finals to win 2 U.S. Open Cups and an MLS Cup for Sporting KC. Knows Peter Vermes pretty well.
Yeah, I know you and I were talking about he was a legend there at Sporting KC. He's done a lot of great things in Major League Soccer and now at USL.
Our head official, J.C. Griggs, for this one, Tom Feliz and Amilar Sikahu, his 2 assistant referees for this one. A perfect day it ended up being in Montclair, New Jersey, as 45 degrees, sunny, compared to what we've had, Steve. This is basically paradise.
I'll take this all day. It's been a tough last couple of months here in the Northeast, and so today we finally have a great pitch here at Montclair State, but also some good weather.
New York Red Bulls, too, and their home Reds, going right to left on your monitors. Swope Park Rangers in the away Whites, going left to right for this one. As I said, these two teams have matched up once ever, the 2016 USL Cup Championship. New York Red Bulls, too, winning 5-1 behind a hat trick by Brandon Allen. Vincent Bezecourt did have the opener in that one. He sitting in that number 10 spot here today. Will look to do the same. Bezecourt, along with Velo, coming back from a year where he was hit with injuries. Yeah. Steve, for those players who now it's been 2-3 years in the pros and it looked like they were ready to break through last year between him and Velo, and then you get those injuries. What is a game like this? What does the beginning of the season mean for them?
Yeah, especially for guys like Velo, who had some great minutes there in Columbus a week or 2 back for his MLS start again. To him go down to a tough injury like the ACL, and for him to get these minutes right here, it's so vital for him to get some confidence, but get some touches in game-like situations.
Kuzane gets an early touch there. Eric Dick in goal, we said. Jalen Lindsay getting the start at right back. Graham Smith, Justin Billieu, and Alexander, the young Brazilian, at left back. Kuzane in that central midfield alongside academy player Felipe Hernandez, as well as Ayub Alak, a young Moroccan-Belgian player. And up top, a 3-man attack in Tyler Freeman, Wilson Harris, and we already mentioned Jerome Engam and Bukali. But like we see consistently in USL, Steve, a lot of changes for both these teams. Haji Barry, the leading goal scorer for Swope Park Rangers, gone from last year. On the flip side, for New York Red Bulls, too, Andrew Tenari, who wore the captain's armband, Jose Aguinaga, a host of players from last year also leaving. Only 7 returning players for New York Red Bulls, too.
Well, and obviously, you know, at the end of the day, that's just kind of what the league is, and I'll step out here. Dick
with the turnover. Now Epps charging forward. Epps cuts it in for Barlow's early shot is saved and finally cleared here by Swope.
If it looked like Barlow might have had more time than he thought right there, could he easily just kind of took his time and tried a far post.
Barlow getting the start at center forward here today. His quick shot is blocked away. Steve, you see early mistake there from Swope Park, who we expect to try and play out of this New York Red Bulls 2 pressure.
Well, it's kind of a trademark for Sporting KC to kind of play out of the back, and they have some talented players to be able to do that. The first team, always difficult for the for this team to kind of do the same philosophy, partly because you don't know the players as well. You know, this is always a difficult time in terms of transition for the first couple weeks of the start of the USL season.
Tom Barlow, out of University of Wisconsin, pushing into his second year of professional soccer, scored 10 goals last year. But, Steve, 7 of them came basically in the last month and a half of the season. Really started to find his feet as a professional. Gets the start in the first day here today.
Yeah, he's been fun to watch. And one of the things that I think is an intangible for Barlow is he has absolutely no fear putting the ball at the net. You know, a lot of times his first thought is, let's take a shot, and I like to see that.
Velo forcing the turnover, finds the feet of Epps. He's got Bezecourt running. Epps now plays it for Bezecourt, in on goal, and Bezecourt's shot goes just wide.
The reaction right there says it all. Bezecourt knows he missed a golden opportunity here in the first couple minutes. Good little play out wide. Has time and space. Looks up, tries to hit that far post. Maybe the turf tripped him up a little bit, but a good chance here in the first 4 minutes there for Red Bull.
Marcus Epps, another new player, 24 years old, coming over after spending 2 years with the Philadelphia Union and Bethlehem Steel. Last year, 12 games in USL, 2 goals scored, but should be another piece that you see oscillating between the MLS side and this USL side.
There's no question Epps has some potential. I saw him quite a few times with the Philadelphia Union. Talented player, just needs some opportunities.
Kofi pulling up here for New York Red Bulls too. An up and down preseason coming into this one. Ended up having some weather issues. I had what you'll always see, Steve, which is you have MLS players, you have USL players, guys trying out, guys who maybe we'll be seeing in a few weeks that haven't signed contracts yet. How do you gel together for these early games?
And David, I mean, you're as much involved in this league as me, and I got to tell you, one of the things that strikes me is just how difficult it is to coach a team like this in USL that has this much transition in these two teams. It's not one of those established franchises where they're not really associated within any MLS team where a coach can go in throughout the course of preseason and the entire regular season, know his players, knows what he has. But guys like Nagamura and obviously John Woniak, I mean, they have a difficult job here, and as we've seen by their performance over the last 4 or 5 years, there's been a level of consistency, and it says a lot about them in terms of how they are as managers.
We said in New York Red Bulls 3 straight Eastern Conference Finals, including 1 USL regular season and postseason championship in 2016. The last 2 years falling at Louisville in penalty kicks and an extra time goal. Louisville going on to win those 2 championships, one versus Swope Park Rangers. Buckmaster pushing this one back to the feet of Loro. Evan Loro, Jordan Scarlett, Chris Lemma giving a little bit of experience down the spine for New York Red Bulls, 2 all returning players. Scarlett, actually the longest serving now New York Red Bull 2 player, coming back for his 3rd season. See Lemma there with that ball over the top. Chris Lemma, part of what's become a pipeline, New York Red Bulls Academy to Georgetown, back to New York Red Bulls. Kyle Zayats joining them this year after 4 years at Georgetown. We've seen the success of Alex Muil and Brandon Allen and other players coming through that Georgetown system as well. Zayats, a player we expect to see throughout the season at central midfield. Kuzane can't bring this one down. Kofi now on the ball out of UVA in the DC United Academy. This one down the line for Buckmaster. Another shot coming. And Bezecourt's shot deflected wide for a corner kick. Steve, a bright start here for New York Red Bulls too.
Good job there by Buckmaster. You always like to see your outside backs get for it when they can. It was a good decision in terms of getting back. He gets to the end line, does a great job pushing it back, and it's unlucky that gets deflected. But looks like this Red Bull team's coming off to a good start here.
So it'll be Bezecourt to take this in-swinging corner kick. Swope Park Rangers, all 11 players back in the box to defend this one. Play to the far post, headed down at that far post, and Epps cannot find the goal.
One of the things I like about Bezecourt's game, especially on these set pieces, is he puts a lot of pace in these crosses. You like to see those guys put some pace behind it. There was an opportunity right there for Epps on the back post to kind of slide it in, but the pace is a lot more difficult to defend than those floating balls.
So a bright start for New York Red Bulls too in this one. And Steve, everyone always talks about New York Red Bulls style, their pressure. You talk about it for a few days before the game, and then you get on the field, and clearly it looks a little different.
It does. It does. I mean, it's, one of the things that you kind of come to appreciate and respect about this organization, Red Bull, is the consistency in terms of, people know their roles and their responsibilities.
Barlow here over the top, able to spread his legs a little bit, throws it towards that far post, and it's knocked away. Jalen Lindsay over to cover.
Good decision by Barlow. You could see he put his head up. He knew he was going to cross the ball. I'd like to see maybe Epps, if you can, in this specific situation, since you're going to see the replay here, maybe take a near post run, something that Bradley Wright Phillips does an exceptional job. Maybe force, like you're going to go to the far post, but then cut right quickly to that near post. That near post run is vital.
Another corner kick coming here. It'll be Bezecourt to take once again. This one alive in the middle of the box. Still on. Scarlett's shot is blocked by Eric Dick in goal, and now it's cleared out. 4 or 5 chances already in the opening 10 minutes for New York Red Bulls too. Question is if they can make one of them count.
You can see how comfortable Bezecourt is on the ball right now.
Bezecourt slides this one through. Barlow allowed to pick that one up, and it looked like Epps was definitely offside. Barlow called offside as well.
But it was a good opportunity. I can assure you, David, and you know as well, is if you're going to give Bezecourt this much time, as you'll see in this replay, he's going to tear this team apart, Swope. You just cannot give a player like Bezecourt and the talent that he has this much time. Guys like Barlow and the other players up top are going to get quite a few opportunities today if you're going to give them this much time.
And for Swope Park Rangers, listed as a 4-3-3, but when you watch anything from a Peter Vermees system, you get to learn more of a 4-1-4-1, and you talk about Bezecourt getting time. Juan Kuzain forced to cover in that central midfield a lot right now by himself. Can Swope find him any help in that area?
Yeah, he's going to need some help today.
Bezecourt once again. This one pulls Epps a little bit wide. 1v1 now with Alexander. Gets to his right foot, cuts it back. Barlow can't get it out of his feet, and now it's cleared.
You like to see the confidence right now by this Red Bull team. At the end of the day, it's all about putting the ball in the back of the net.
Below looking for the feet of Barlow. Now Nealis steps forward. Cuts off that clearance back into the feet of Velo. Kofi pushes it wide for Lemma. Now Velo with some space. Trying to curl it in for Epps. It's headed away by Alexander, and he'll try and run it down, but it'll roll out for a throw-in.
Yeah, I know it's so early in the season. Start of the season, USL season, but you can see how a lot of these players on Red Bull have played together, and they're starting to feel, very comfortable on the ball. Plenty of time and space. It's going to be a dangerous long day for, I think, for Swope.
Bezecourt in once again, and Dick knocks it away. Vincent Bezecourt right now playing.
Yeah, it's
like
a different level.
Game 7 of the NBA Finals.
It's a different level for Bezecourt. So much time on the ball. Obviously, so dangerous on that left foot. But you got to give credit where credit's due, and Dick came big relative to that near post save.
Vincent Bezecourt, 24 years old, out of St. Francis, Brooklyn, but originally from France. He puts another corner kick in, headed down once again, and just missing that far post.
Yeah, Velo's going to want that one back. He knows he missed a golden opportunity. Bezecourt again with a nice firm pace ball inside the box.
Swope Park Rangers still trying to find their feet
here,
Steve.
You kind of feel a little bit of sympathy right now for these guys. You can see how they're going to try to play out of the back, and that's just asking for problems.
Barlow blocking the clearance attempt by Dick, and you're seeing exactly what you've seen with Sporting KC to start this season. The goalkeeper playing it out along that end line and then trying to work out from that. And you see Barlow with the deflection. The perfect setup there for Barlow, a guy who will chase and run and cover ground and close it down probably as good as anyone on this Red Bull 2 team.
Well, think about if you're a coach, Nakamura, you're out over there saying, I got so many different new faces, new players, trying to play a system here and, looking for bigger kind of goals relative to kind of playing a system like the first team does, and then he just might not have the players or the time to really understand what they're supposed to do. And then they get to play the first game of the season with a team as talented, but also a system that is as strong as Red Bull.
Alak there has it knocked away, and it'll be a throw-in for New York Red Bulls too. Ayub Alak, part of what is a very international roster for this Swope Park Rangers team. Players coming from South America, Central America, across Europe, as Peter Vermees and his staff goes out and tries to find talent around the world. I mean, we've got a homegrown player at the MLS level from Hungary, so they're out there scouting.
They got a great scouting system. It's a great system. You got to really respect what Peter Vermees has done there and the organization relative to the changes that they've had over the last 10-plus years. It's definitely one of the more consistent teams in Major League Soccer.
Peter Vermees, originally a native of New Jersey, but now as Kansas as you can get.
Yeah. Him and Carries Wagner, right? They've been together
Yep.
forever.
Rutgers graduates. And now Peter Vermees, as you said, putting together one of the finest top-to-bottom soccer clubs you've ever seen in this country.
I agree.
Barlow gets taken down by Alexander. Tom Barlow, a bright start to this one. Spent a lot of time last year. They broke a nose wearing that mask. Trying to get comfortable.
Yeah, he's a big player, you know, from Wisconsin, has no fear, kind of putting his body in certain positions. And, I mean, that's exactly what you want to see from a lone front runner.
Scored a hat trick in one half against Charleston Battery last year to drag this team back.
I remember that. Yeah, it was a fun game.
It was amazing talking to Coach Wolenek, who said I then had to tell him he wasn't starting the next game. And he said he's a good guy, and he was just happy to do whatever he could for the team. Last year, a competitive spot at that center forward position with Brian White.
Yeah.
When White shows you the ability to play at the PDL level with New York Red Bulls, USL, and then ending the season in MLS.
Yeah, he does such a great job, Brian White. He's just opportunistic. You know, he gets his chances, and it seems like whenever he gets that kind of sliver of a chance at the first team, he does something, you know, either put the ball in the back of the net, and that's exactly what you want a striker to do, but he gets himself in right positions, and then sometimes you just ask him to get on the field, take Bradley right out, and let him run around a little bit and cause some destruction, and he does that as well, too.
Dick now into the feet of Kuzain, put under some pressure. Smith back towards Kuzain. It's turned over. Barlow here with space. So wide for Velo. The cross comes in towards Epps. New York Red Bulls, too, not able to get a shot away so far. And it's turned back over to Swope Park Rangers, and Kuzain looking to break the other way. Hernandez down that right side, and Loro's out to cover it.
I think you're going to see Loro out there on the 18-yard box quite a bit today, because I think, if anything, if Swope's going to have any way of gaining some ground on this situation, they're going to have to rely on the counterattack, because I just don't see or foresee this team doing really well getting out of the back.
Select is the official supplier of the USL Championship in many of the finest leagues in the world since 1947. Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, visit selectsports.com. If you're Paulo Nagamura, center mid himself in his career, what's the direction? Because
it's tough. It's really, I feel, I mean, and I don't even know if I'm kind of relaying this as well as I really want to, or articulating as well, is because you know he wants to run a system. You know he wants to help and provide kind of a bigger thing, a more objective thing for the first team, and allow these players to understand their role and responsibility in the entire Kansas City system. But, you know, playing out of the back and not knowing the players exceptionally well, it's so difficult, especially when you're playing against a team like Red Bull, where every single one of these players on the field at Red Bull, they understand their role and responsibility. So you got a guy like Barlow. He knows exactly what he's supposed to do. He's the Brian White. He's the Bradley Wright Phillips, being dangerous. Epps knows what he needs to do relative to his position. You know, every single one of these players know kind of the role and responsibility. And when you can also put the talent of a Bezecourt in the middle of the park, and you can put a talent as a Velo on that left-hand side, I mean, this is a dangerous, dangerous Red Bull team, and it's tough for Nagamura to start his season this way.
Scarlett's header forward. Now Bezecourt charging forward. He gets fouled by Bilyeu. We mentioned the truncated preseason for New York Red Bulls, too, for Swope Park Rangers. Some games canceled because of weather, of course.
Yeah.
They've had issues. They beat a couple college teams, but never the same as playing against the professional side.
You know, and we spoke to John before the game, and John was saying even with the trips to Arizona and Florida, they had tough weather as well, so it's been tough for him. But you can see here, I mean, his first touch is tremendous. He's a first-teamer, Bezecourt, and Bilyeu was a little slow there.
He's also a hungry player.
Yeah.
He's a guy, as he takes this set piece, clips it towards the far post, and it's headed away. He's a guy who felt like he was on the turning point of the rest of his professional career last year as he got comfortable. Then he gets injured, got hurt the day he got back from that injury throughout the season, as this one forward for Lemma is knocked away for a corner kick. And now you can see he's out there trying to prove he's at where he was when he got left off.
Yeah, and I mean, you've already seen the first, 10 minutes or so, almost 20 minutes now. I mean, he's a special player, special talent. There's no question that he's going to be involved in some capacity with the first team.
It'll be Bezecourt to take once again. New York Red Bulls, too, pouring on the chances early on here. Still yet to find that breakthrough. They go short this time for Buckmaster. Reese Buckmaster's cross knocked away. Swope looking to counter, but Yanez puts it back in the box. Will at least hold up Swope Park Rangers. Dick with the long punt, trying to go direct. Right now, for Swope, just trying to find their feet a little bit, get some possession in this game. I've been interested to see so far how high Swope has played that front three. They've really been disconnected for most of this game. And even with the pressure defensively for them, they've still kept those numbers up there.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, they got to commend themselves that they've,
Below down the line for Bezecourt. Bezecourt in the middle of the six, and Barlow can't get a touch to it.
And, I mean, I was just saying that at the end of the day, they haven't given up a goal in the first 20 minutes. And when you're on the road, that's pretty much kind of the #1 rule. Don't give up goals. But you can see in this specific situation, again, there's an opportunity there to get on the left-hand side, get it through, and then almost finish that off. And Bezecourt has been the man right now, no question. But this is, you mentioned the spacing for Swope. That's time. You have to know kind of, especially when you know the players next to you, the players in front of you, what are their strengths and weaknesses, and just trying to work with that as well. But, this is a tough start. But it's a tough start for the Swope team, but it's a Swope team that's still, even scoreline, and that's what it's all about right now. Just keep yourself in the game and hope for the best, because it looks like they're going to rely probably more so than not on this the counterattack and the long ball.
New York Red Bulls, too, out shooting. Swope are in the early running here, 4-0. Possession at about 63% for New York Red Bulls, too. That's for a team that doesn't really want the ball and wants to press you into mistakes. So, as we've been expressing, it's been a tough start for Swope Park Rangers. But at 0-0, you get a goal, you have the lead.
I mean, I'm sure they would be honest with themselves. Anytime they see the starting lineup and they see guys like, Kofi, Bezecourt, Velo, Epps, these are people who has a lot of experience, and they knew they were going to in for a long day today.
Dick looking to spray that one out wide. We really haven't seen Mbukali get on the ball at all.
Yeah, I was just thinking that the same thing. I was kind of shocked that he'd kind of not find the game. You really haven't mentioned his name at all in the first 20 minutes, and I thought he'd be a little bit more impactful than he is right now.
Mbukali on loan from MFK Vyškov in the Czech Republic, but a native of Cameroon. Was a Cameroon U23 player alongside former New York Red Bull 2 player Son Endam, a number of other MLS and USL guys. Now a chance for Mbukali. He gets the cross in. It's knocked away at the last second, but 2 players in white on that far post.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about, and this is kind of where I think the success for Swope is going to be found, is on these counterattacks. And, it's so difficult. We're talking about this Red Bull team in terms of getting for it and doing a great job. But here you're going to see an opportunity for the defenders to kind of step up and know their kind of role and responsibility in this situation, is what they did. Got numbers behind the ball. It's not easy, especially in the space that they're in right there. But this is a Red Bull team that obviously feels very comfortable and organized right now with their 2 center backs, Nealis and Scarlett.
Reese Buckmaster coming over and helping out there. Native of Auburn, Indiana, out of IU, 22 years old, has slowly shifted to fullback in his career. Last year, IU making it to a College Cup. Buckmaster getting the bulk of the starts for the team at that position, 22 starts, and now on the bench against Santos on Tuesday and gets the chance to start here.
Yeah. How'd you like to finally sign a contract, professional contract, the next a week later I'm sitting on the bench and a first-team experience.
Playing against arguably the best team in the region.
Yeah.
One of the biggest teams of all time in Santos Laguna. New York Red Bulls falling 2-0 in their CCL first leg game. They will travel down to Mexico for the second leg. And we do expect a couple of these players to travel with that team. But still, as we say about CCL every year, early in the season, preseason,
It's tough.
You're playing a team that's hitting on all cylinders in the bulk of the Liga MX Apertura, or excuse me, the Clausura, and you're asked to play at the highest level in a knockout competition.
Well, there's no question that they left that game feeling like they let themselves down. If you were able to watch the game, you'd know that in the first 20 minutes, this Red Bull team had plenty of opportunities, and they had plenty of opportunities over the course of the entire 90 minutes and just didn't do the job. And you did the ultimate no-no in soccer. You give up goals on in between the first 5 and last 5 of each half, and it's something that you really, in terms of Red Bull, they've always been a very disciplined side, and to see them give up the goals that they gave up, it's just disappointing. Now they've dug themselves a mighty hole, to say the least.
New York Red Bulls soon not trying to follow the same pattern here as they've dominated these opening 25 minutes. You see a replay of that foul. Quickly taken free kick here. New York Red Bulls 2 back on the attack. Crawl comes in, won by Bilyu. He had to win that one as Epps was lurking, and now the break is on once again for the away side in white. Alexander joining this team here in 2019, coming over from his native Brazil. Velo down the middle of the field for Barlow in one-on-one. His shot saved. Eric Dick once again stepping up and keeping this New York Red Bull 2 attack at bay.
Yeah, he's done a good job. You can see here he does a good job in terms of taking the angle. Barlow has plenty of time and plenty of space. That first touch misses it a little bit, gets caught up to that left-hand side. Wasn't really comfortable or confident in terms of really placing it, to that far post and just try to get a shot of it. But looked like Dick had it covered.
Kofian wins that tackle. Lemma comes away with it. Jean-Christophe Kofi with a good start for this one. Barlow gets by the goalkeeper, and he's going to walk this one in. New York Red Bulls 2 have been knocking on the door. They finally break through. Tom Barlow with the opening goal of the 2019 USL Championship season.
David, it looks like it's the announcer's curse. After saying so much positive things about Dick, in this one specific situation, you really have to question why he felt like he needed to come off this line as much as here. Right away, you can see the space between Barlow and what he has, and obviously Dick taking it all the way up to about 25, 30 yards out. Fortunately for Barlow, he gets there first and is able to walk one home and give this Red Bull team a well-deserved, very well-deserved 1-0 lead.
Barlow already his third shot of the game, gets his first goal of 2019 after 10 goals to close out the season last year. Looking to take over as the starting center forward for this squad. And we just talked about, for New York Red Bulls 2, you don't want all these chances to go for nothing, and they're able to break through and get the early lead.
You just kind of had the feeling that it was just a matter of time for this Red Bull team. Everybody seems to be in top form, excited to obviously start their new USL season, and with the system that they play and feeling comfortable with the system, you're starting to see a dominating performance so far, at least for Red Bull.
Wilson goes wide. So now how does Swope Park Rangers react to this one? Starting to get a little more comfortable in this game. Then you give up a goal. Charging forward now, a chance put in the box. Going to roll safely to the feet of Loro. We've seen a little bit of a threat, at least, on the counterattack, especially down that right wing from Mbukali.
Well, there's no question that this team has some talent on the field. It's not that. It's just a matter of finding their groove and finding a kind of a better understanding of what's going to be successful against this Red Bull team. That looks like that right-hand side starting to open up for this team.
Lindsay coming forward. He finds Mbukali, trying to take Nealis one-on-one, and Yanez able to recover. Yanez's clearance is not far enough. Maybe another bite at it here for Swope. And that shot blocked down. Still alive in the box. It looked like for a moment there, Freeman might get a free kick as he got sort of a boot to the face. Barlow down the line. And Billy was able to outrun Bezecourt. We've seen a little, as you said, openings down the right wing for Swope Park Rangers. Alan Yanez starting there. Has played most of his time here in the U.S. at right back. So a little maybe discomfort for him swapping wings that Swope Park Rangers could take advantage of.
Yeah, you would think that Yanez kind of understands his role right now in terms of who he has to match up a little bit better on. But, you know, it's just a matter of some time for some of these younger players, some time just to understand kind of what's needed in a specific game. That you have a game plan and it's all set for you before the start of the whistle. But when the whistle blows, you kind of have to amend that game plan sometimes. And for him, he needs to step up a little bit more and be engaged with Mbukele.
Alak here to the feet of Freeman. Tyler Freeman hasn't had many touches in the attack so far for this Swope Park Rangers team. Bukali and Lindsay trying to link up down that right side. Jalen Lindsay, one of the bright young players in the United States, U.S. Youth International at right back. Still looking to grow a little bit more at the professional level. Bukali here. The ball once again, that cross blocked. Bilyeu. Justin Bilyeu coming out of college, playing his first year of professional soccer with New York Red Bulls at SIU Edwardsville.
And this is exactly what Swope needs right now, is just to kind of settle themselves, maybe go a little bit kind of right-left for a little bit so they feel a little bit more comfortable about, you know, some spacing. And you can see there, good decision to come back on the ball. And Nealis with really an unnecessary foul right there.
For Nealis, starting to get his feet at the professional level, was the first draft pick signed out of the 2019 Super Draft for New York Red Bulls. What have you seen from his game?
You know what I think? I mean, obviously he's a physical presence. I mean, even when he got time on the first team and you see him next to a guy like Tim Parker or even Aaron Long, he's a bigger guy than even those two. And so he fits a great, I mean, he's got a great opportunity when you think about the minutes that those two players are going to get throughout the course of the year in terms of just learning the game and learning to be a good professional. But more importantly for a guy like Nealis is when guys like maybe Aaron Long go to the national team, maybe he steps in and fills that role as well. So I know the coaching staff thinks the world of him, and quite frankly, the opportunities that he has been presented with, he stepped up to the call.
Part of a good soccer family, his brother Jimmy being drafted by the Houston Dynamo, playing 2 years of pro ball with the New York Cosmos before retiring and going into the Steve Jolly world, I'm sure, of making real money or whatever it is you do.
Got to pay the bill sometime, buddy.
But it's got to make it easier when you come into whatever this professional soccer world is like and have a little advice and having seen it happen to people around you.
Yeah.
Velo here trying to be quick off the turnover. Bezecourt into the feet of Epps. One-on-one with Bilyeu. Alexander into help. Epps gets to his right foot. And Dick forces it over the top of the crossbar, but Marcus Epps, a bright start to this one.
Well, you could see two Swope defenders kind of waiting, nobody stepping up and allowing Epps to kind of do his little step over and get to his more dominant right foot and challenge Dick there. It's a good decision by Epps to try to put this one on frame, and a good save by Dix.
Marcus Epps picked up in the waiver draft by New York Red Bulls after the Philadelphia Union declined to re-sign him after 2 years with them. Playing against the Columbus Crew last week in MLS and here in his first USL game as Bezecourt's corner kick knocked away. Kofi wins the second header, and then it's cleared by Swope.
David, you were talking about Nealis having an opportunity to learn from guys like, you know, Tim Parker and Aaron Long and the opportunities they get. I mean, it reminds me of my own specific situation there in LA Galaxy. I had guys like Dan Kalishman and Robin Frazier. I mean, you couldn't ask for better role models there in terms of just keeping your mouth shut and learning the game. Well, with Dan Kalishman and Robin Frazier, they pretty much forced you to keep your mouth shut.
I was going to say, you didn't really have an option.
Man, Vanny, Caligiuri, all those guys. I was very fortunate. And you know what? At the time, I didn't even really think and even recognize and realize that what a golden opportunity I had.
When you played with guys like that, as Barlow tries to run this one down, do you realize they're going to be coaches or good coaches at the next level?
Without question.
You can see it when
Without
you're with
question.
them?
Yeah, I mean, it could be a combination of, remember, a lot of these guys were really involved in wanting to be involved in coaching when they were even playing, where we would kind of Tuesday through Thursday be a little bit more engaged in the youth soccer market in our area. When you think about whether it be Dan Kolishman, whether it be Robin Frazier, Greg Vanny, Jason Kreis, these are all people, Kerry Talley, all people who come to mind right away who really wanted to be involved when they had some off time to be involved with the local youth team or state teams or whatever it may be.
Swope Park Rangers on the counter here. The referee waves play on, and Reese Buckmaster comes flying in with a huge clearance at the near post.
Buckmaster were doing a great job being in the right space at the right time.
Lindsay now getting forward once again. Swope Park Rangers going to hit against the run of play and tie this one up here. We've got about 10 minutes left to play in this first half. David Goss and Steve Jolly on the call with you for this one. You can watch this New York Red Bull 2 game and, of course, all their games for the rest of the USL Championship season on ESPN+, home to USL, MLS, UFC, and more. Join the over 2 million sports fans who have already discovered ESPN+ and watch the championship live every week. This just the second game of the USL Championship season. Last night, the Tacoma Defenders, in their first year named the Tacoma Defenders, getting a victory at home out west. The Seattle Sounders build out their youth program, and you saw, similar to what you saw for New York Red Bulls 2 in 2015 with 16 and 17 and 18-year-olds filling that lineup. A more experienced team now for New York Red Bulls 2, as well as Swope Park Rangers, older players. But you start to see these clubs figure out where to identify talent and how to push it through their system.
Yeah, it's obviously, better than most what kind of a beast Major League Soccer has become relative to the soccer scene. Just wonderful opportunity after opportunity after opportunity for younger players to get some real-world kind of professional experience, and it's happening in every major market now.
Freeman's shot gets blocked down. Bilyeu stepping in to keep it alive, and Kuzain cycles possession. So Park Rangers have found some success down this right wing so far here in the middle portion of this first half. See, when you look in general at young players coming through, where do you see them compared to where you were at, you said, when you started your pro career?
Yeah, and I apologize. It's a little bit more of a kind of a light night and day when you think about, a league that started and then kind of contracted to only 10, 12 teams during most of my career, where there wasn't really a lot of opportunities. There was a smaller lineup. You'd have, your 20-man rosters, if anything. So it was very difficult for younger players to kind of get an opportunity. When you think about, opportunities, I think Red Bull is kind of the pinnacle example of young players who are kind of grow up with a system in mind, and when they do get old enough to maybe take it to the next level, a professional level, you have coaching staffs and organizations that entrust young players with opportunities, and time and time again, they have stepped up, and Tyler Adams has become the kind of the pinnacle of that. Here is a player who steps in at the top of the biggest leagues in the world and has absolutely no fear whatsoever, and it's just because he is brought up with that more kind of professional mindset.
Tyler Adams, the first ever signing in New York Red Bull 2 history. He is now with Red Bull Leipzig in the Bundesliga, in which they've conceded one goal with him on the field the entire time since he's gone over there.
I mean, I recall the first time I saw him play, I think my 9-year-old son was with me, and I'm like, buddy, keep an eye on that kid because he's going to go to some great places with us.
It took him a little while his first year to find his feet, but 2016, when New York Red Bulls 2 won the regular season and the postseason championship, he formed a dominant partnership in central midfield with a host of partners, starting with Sean Davis, but then Davis moving into the MLS sphere. And then every time Tyler Adams takes a step up, he seems to just find his feet.
It's so, I mean, he's so mature. You see, his confidence and how, he feels like he can step in any kind of arena and play at the next level, and we're seeing that. And I think the one thing that I kind of, and I'm sure, you can talk about it a little bit more than I can sometimes, is the idea that, you've got these players that have kind of taken it to another level, but, do they factor in to the under-20 national team now that, that's a big under-20 World Cup year that we have right now, and you'd like to see them be involved in the World Cup, but you don't know if those clubs are going to release them.
They also are full national team players now.
Yeah.
So you got to weigh that. And you're looking at a guy like Josh Sargent and Tyler Adams,
Yeah,
where they could be
great call.
starting in the Gold Cup or going to the U20 World Cup.
It's just, this is, they say this is the best team since 1999 with the Landon Donovan and the Marcus Beasleys. I think Tab has even mentioned time and time again that this could be, a team that could actually win this if he had every single player that was available. So, we'll see. It'll be an interesting summer for us.
Juan Kuzain and Jalen Lindsay looking to be a part of those youth national teams as well. Swope Park Rangers, of course, in Kansas City, building out the facilities to be part of the national team program consistently. And, of course, the pride Peter Vermees has had in representing the national team as a player, and now pushing his guys like Beasler and Zusi we saw in the past, but the next stage into the national team, a key for what he's doing at Sporting KC.
No question. Right down his in terms of coaching staff with Kerry Zavagna as well. They have a formula in place, and that formula is working. They'd like to see some younger players even take it to another level on the international side.
Below with the cutback there. New York Red Bulls 2, the opening goal in the 26th minute by Tom Barlow, the opener of the 2019 USL Championship season, a remade USL. Even more teams coming into the league now, 18 teams in both the East and West Conference. St. Louis FC as well as Swope Park Rangers swapping from the West to the East. The top 10 teams will make the postseason. The top 6 will get a first-round bye. The bottom 4 will play a play-in game to get into the next round. And that a huge part of, we've been talking about the success we hope in the future of the national team is the professional game building out. You mentioned 12 MLS teams, 10 at times. Now you're looking at 36 USL Championship teams. A USL League One that's going to launch in its first year and grow. USL League Two that's gotten even stronger and stronger as Hernandez comes forward. The game on every level just building out here in the United States
it's taking
and Canada.
Exactly. And and I try to take the kind of glass half full approach to the disappointment of not making the last World Cup, but I think there's a bright future for us.
Bezecourt in for the feet of Barlow, and Tom Barlow. That's the opportunity miss to go 2-0 up here in this first half.
Well, you can see right here when the ball gets to his left foot, Bezecourt does a wonderful job just kind of waiting that pass, and Barlow is not happy with himself, no question, but what a great pass there by Bezecourt.
You talk about being calm in front of goal, almost too calm there from Barlow.
But he's getting the opportunities, and at the end of the day, in the first 45 minutes, you want to make sure that your forwards, get as many opportunities as possible, and Barlow's already scored one and put it back in the net, but he keeps this up. I'm sure he'll get another one by the end of the day.
And for guys like Tom Barlow, Florian Velo, Vincent Bezecourt, 7 years ago, there wasn't really a pro future in the U.S.
You were going to get a job. That's basically, at the end of the day, that's what it was all about.
And now you have 2-3 years to show who you are, to build a resume at the pro level. And Bukali cuts in here. Another shot blocked.
Dave, I think about my time. I was a junior in college, and literally, Major League Soccer didn't even exist. I wasn't even thinking about playing professional soccer. I was thinking about getting a job. It wasn't until my college coach actually said, yeah, you might want to think about at least giving this a try. Next thing you know, I get invited to a couple, senior events, and I get drafted, and I can remember going back after the draft and telling my college professors, you won't believe this, but I got drafted, and I'm thinking about going to play. And they're like, go, see what happens. It was literally see what happens.
Right.
It's not like you're going to build out a professional career. Let's just see what happens. Oh, I'll go to L.A. and hang out for a while and see what happens.
Live in a house with 7 other teammates.
I lived on a college campus. I lived at UCLA. I actually took Taj Jenkins' spot, who went to Colorado, and I took his spot on campus and lived with Kevin Hartman. So I lived like an extension of my college years on the campus of UCLA at the time.
Not a bad way to
It didn't suck. It didn't suck. Don't get me wrong.
Worked out for Kevin Hartman.
Yeah.
He only played 500 MLS games after that.
Exactly.
battle here in midfield. Swope Park Rangers coming out, getting blitzed early on by New York Red Bulls too. Held the fort though. Barlow's 26-minute strike, the only difference right now. That one saved from going out. And Bukali now one-on-one with Yanez. He's had success, gets to that right foot once again. This cross in an opening, and Swope Park Rangers tie it up. In the dying moments of this first half, Felipe Hernandez with the goal, but who else but Jerome, Engam, and Bukale to set this one up.
There's a lot of action on that right-hand side by Uncale. You can see here he has way too much time. Beats Yanez, great little pass into the center of the box, and Hernandez with a great first-time finish. You know, if Swope was going to get a goal, we said it was going to be a goal like this where it kind of opens itself up, a lot of space, and absolutely, if there's going to be one thing that makes John Woniak go bonkers, it's giving up a goal, especially when you're going to have a dominating performance in the first half so late in the first half here.
For Felipe Hernandez, the 20-year-old out of Nashville, Tennessee. Epps through here. It gets by Dick, and Bilyeu clears it. Hernandez, though, 34 appearances in USL last year out of the Sporting KC Academy. Just 4 goals on the season. A bright start for him here, and one of, as we were talking about, those young U.S. Youth Internationals. Cross comes in. Kofi trying to head it down for Lemma. So, Steve, late goals change everything, as Bezecourt now has it knocked away. What's Coach Wolenek saying when he gets into the locker room to this group?
It's not going to be pretty, I can tell you that. I mean, he's going to be frustrated, obviously, for giving up a bad goal right there at the end. Really unnecessary. Yanez has to be a little bit better on that left-hand side. You know, I guess there's kind of a start reminder of the first team experience there with Santos. You know, doing a good job in the first 20, 30 minutes. Could have probably put one in the back of the net, kept him in the game. And now, you know, Santos gets a goal right at the very last minute or two of that first half, and it changes the complexity of the game. This is a Red Bull team that's, you know, dominated even more so, at least on the USL side right now. And the last thing you want to do is, you know, kind of go in with your head down to the locker room because you know you're going to get kind of a talking to by your coaching staff, but you got to come back, at least fight through these last couple of minutes and see if you can get another opportunity.
First shot on goal for Swope Park Rangers of the game. Finds the back of the net. 9-3 outshots so far. Epps gets to his right foot once again, but that a simple save for Dick. On the flip side for Paulo Nagamura, his team went from 40% possession to about 53 now over the course of this first half. They found their feet, and they get the goal.
I was saying the same thing. It looks like they have found their feet, and Bilyeu in that situation did a good job kind of holding up Epps. Like to see Epps be a little bit more dominant in terms of putting his head down and run at Bilyeu. It's always difficult as a defender to have players running at you. So if you can back up and kind of kill your time a little bit, you're going to do it, and that's exactly what Bilyeu did.
It'll be interesting to see this second half coming for New York. A lot of times they want teams to get comfortable in possession to press them. They lost a head of steam. The first 20 minutes explosive for New York Red Bulls too. Tom Barlow opens the scoring off the long through ball by Chris Lemma in the 26th minute, but then Felipe Hernandez ties it up in the 44th as we head into the locker room for halftime. We've got first half highlights. We'll look around the league here in week 1 of the USL Championship, the 2019 season. David Goss and Steve Jolly joining you here on ESPN Plus. We'll be back in just a moment with all your action.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Left out here to rot and burn. I never trusted you.
Brian White gets his first of the game.
Lancaster denied by Lauro.
His low shot off the post and in. Stroud's got his hat trick. New York Red Bulls 2 take a 4-goal lead. Welcome back to Pitzer Field, a beautiful 45 degrees and sunny here for the opening of the 2019 USL Championship season. David Goss and Steve Jolly joining you for this one. We take a look at what we've seen so far here in this opening game. We talked about Evan Lauro. 5 shutouts last year. Won't get one here today. Hasn't really been that active. The one shot on goal's gone in.
Well, yeah. I mean, Hernandez with a great finish on Swope's side. But, you know, still, at the end of the day, this is a dominating performance by Red Bull. They're going to come out in the second half and try to continue to do the same thing they did here in the first half. You know, be involved going forward a little bit sharper in the final third. But Lauro, you know, he's done everything he really needed to do. Unfortunately for him, that Hernandez finish was just too tough to stop.
On the flip side for Juan Kuzain, we talked about the pressure that would be on him. He was flooded in the opening 15-20 minutes, but you got to respect, continued to attempt to play out, find feet, and eventually his team was able to get some possession.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a difficult game for a midfielder sometimes to kind of find the flow, and in him you could see that he did a little bit better job in the final 10-15 minutes, but he's going to have a long day. He's got a difficult situation. I know there's going to be some changes here in the second half in terms of what Red Bull's doing in terms of their lineup with Bezecourt and Velo, but, you know, we'll see what happens here in the second half.
I'll take a look at one of your new players for New York Red Bulls, too. Reese Buckmaster, 32nd overall pick, second-round pick in the 2019 MLS Super Draft, coming out of one of the soccer powerhouses in IU, back-to-back Final Four appearances, and ended up being the full-time right-back starter.
Well, what a wonderful luxury for him to just kind of sign his contract and a day or two later be sitting on the sidelines to that Santos Laguna game to get that experience and see what that atmosphere, and also the kind of the speed of play at that level. It is a different level, most definitely, than the USL. So him getting some good quality minutes here, feeling a little bit more comfortable. Obviously, he's going to factor in at some point during the course of his career in the first team if he keeps on doing what he's doing so far. From what I understand, he's had a great preseason, so we'll see what happens.
Todd Yeagley producing some of the best players in the country, and Reese Buckmaster looking to follow in that vein. We'll see what he can do here coming up in the second half. We'll take a look at first half highlights. We'll jump around the league a little bit for you. And then we've got 45 more minutes coming up here. New York Red Bulls 2 and Swope Park Rangers tied 1-1 here on ESPN+.
What does it take to be a champion? Skill, strength, vision, an unrelenting desire to prove your worth week in, week out. An army of fans behind you screaming your name. And sometimes just a bit of luck. For 631 games over the course of the next 9 months, 22 players will step on the field to answer the question, why will it be you and not them? And the 36 teams, from the champions of yesterday to the challengers of tomorrow, only one will be right.
Louisville has hosted the Cup back-to-back years in the USL. 2019 USL Championship will be their hardest test yet, though. The biggest league, and And you look up and down those standings.
There's a lot of zeros on there.
A lot of zeros. But you look at the names from the teams from last year, teams like Nashville SC, North Carolina, who are really starting to spend. You bring Swope Park and St. Louis in. It's as tough a league as we've seen. Hartford Athletic, Birmingham Legion joining in the Eastern Conference along with Loudoun United. So it'll be an interesting year for USL, the USL Championship. Tacoma Defiance, we mentioned the lone result that went down last night. Everyone else kicking off here today and tomorrow for their 2019 USL Championship runs. Tacoma Defiance picking up that new name and a host of young players getting an opportunity to play out there and around the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's wonderful that there's a platform here in USL. You know, you've changed the structure a little bit from the now official number 2 USL Championship to League 1, League 2, and now you're seeing a lot of the talent, a lot of young players that get opportunities at a bigger stage with the championship model. And you know, it's nice to see that U.S. soccer is getting a little bit more organized, and we're progressing in terms of establishing these kind of like these flows for players.
El Paso expected to have a sellout, as is New Mexico United in the Western Conference.
All that, yeah.
In the Eastern Conference, New York Red Bull Sioux will welcome a few of these new teams in Hartford and Memphis 901, as well as Loudoun United over the next few weeks. So make sure to come on out here to MSU Soccer Park. New York Red Bull Sioux, 60% possession halfway through this first half. But Swope Park Rangers, we said, started to find their feet, end up 58% in that first half. Starting to get a feel for the game.
There's no question that this Red Bull team was dominant performance, at least in the first 30 or 40 minutes. Probably should have capitalized on a little bit more opportunities. The stars of the half were obviously, you know, guys like Bezecourt. I thought Epps did a good job on that right-hand side, but you know, this is a dangerous midfield and strike force for this Red Bull team.
We expect to see Florian Velo and Vincent Bezecourt maybe take a seat. Velo definitely at halftime. Bezecourt probably a few more minutes in him. But Jared Stroud led the team in assists, was 5th in the league last year with 11. He has an opportunity now to come on and try and create a difference for this team as New York Red Bulls too look for the home opening win to start off the 2019 campaign. We'll be back in just a moment with first half highlights and second half action here from MSU Soccer Park.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Brian White gets his first of the game.
Lancaster denied by Laurel.
His most shot off the post and in. Jared Stroud's got his hat trick. New York Red Bulls 2 take a 4-goal lead. Evan Laurel getting ready to go here in the second half, giving up a late goal in the first half. Let's take a look at the highlights from that one. The New York Red Bulls 2 came out firing on all cylinders, Steve, and we're pouring on the chances early on.
Yeah, and that's the one player who was probably the big star of the first house, Bezecourt. He was frustrated that he didn't put that one in the back of the net, but he had plenty of opportunities and was dangerous for most of the game. you know, we mentioned also Epps. Epps was involved in a lot of things going forward, especially in the final third. You know, this is a Red Bull team where we could put, you know, quite a few highlights just like that where they just barely missed.
New York Red Bulls 2, 9 shots in the first half, 4 on target. Vincent Bezecourt pulling the strings. Tom Barlow playing well as that spear of the attack, the point of the attack, and eventually he got the opening goal. But overall, you have to say a good first half for Tom Barlow.
Good first half. He's done a great job reading things in terms of his runs off Bezecourt when he gets the ball with his feet, and Barlow's had quite a few opportunities that were just kind of stuffed by the keeper, Dick.
This one was not. Tom Barlow rounds the goalkeeper and easily able to put in his first of the season. 10 goals last year, but this is his year really to step up, be the full-time starter, and he's done a good job so far.
Capitalized on a bad decision with the keeper coming out too far, and Barlow had a good first touch, and you know, there was probably 3 or 4 chances that he had in the first half, and he was able to put that one away.
From the moment New York Red Bulls 2 scored, Swope Park Rangers looked a lot more comfortable, started to get in possession, knock it from side to side, and then they get the goal here in the 44th minute against the run of play. Yeah. But for Swope Park Rangers, job well done.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Yanez has to be a little bit better on that left-hand side, making sure that the player doesn't beat him to the end line, and Hernandez with a great goal, so give credit where credit's due.
New York Red Bulls 2 opening up with 3 straight home games, so make sure to come out. Nashville SC, their last year in the USL Championship, and then, as we said, 2 of those new teams in Memphis and Birmingham coming here, and then Swope Park Rangers, they get to go home for a nice long stretch. They're hosting Pittsburgh Riverhounds in their first game of the season at home, so make sure if you are in the Kansas City area, you get out to that one. We expected some substitutions coming out of halftime, Steve, and it looks like it is Jared Stroud in place of Florian Velo.
Well, Velo had some minutes, obviously, against the Columbus Crew. He's a player that they'd like to factor in. I think he's going to be making the trip down to Mexico tomorrow, and you know, it's a substitution that I think this Red Bull team feels very comfortable with because Stroud has been such a great player for this team over the years.
Florian Velo gets an applause as he gets announced off. For Velo, you said it, 90 minutes against Columbus, 45 here today. In terms of his comeback from that ACL surgery, how does he look?
I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of Velo. I thought it was devastating when he tore his ACL. Coming from a guy who also tore his ACL, I knew how difficult it was to come back from it, and I thought he played well in his first real significant minutes there at Columbus. He's just a smart player. He understands kind of his role very well, but more importantly, I think he finds spaces in terms of wanting the ball that few players that I think come off, quote-unquote, off the bench on the midfield where he has that much confidence, and I think he has a legitimate opportunity, a really bold opportunity to really compete for that starting position on the right-hand side for Red Bull, the first team.
It was tough for Florian Velo last year. He started basically all of the first 13 games of the season, then tore his ACL and had to come up here and broadcast games with me.
Yeah.
Which is like the worst situation possible.
Man, it's like a double.
Just sitting here, smelling it, and then looks up and it's just me rather than a midfield partner as we get a replay of that long shot. But Jared Stroud, we mentioned, 7 goals, 11 assists last year. Red Bull Academy player, but went to college, coming out, finding his feet at the pro level last year, and now for each of these players, the coaching staff talks to them. You have your first year. What are you doing in the offseason, and how are you taking the next step here in year 2 is always what these coaches lock in on.
Yeah, it's true. And we mentioned Barlow here with another opportunity. It slowed down a little bit, but we talk about how, unfortunately for this Red Bull team, they had a tough preseason. Wherever they went, they had to deal with weather, whether it be in even places like Florida and Arizona.
Pushing forward here is Epps. Dangerous first half for Marcus Epps. He has it knocked away. Now Lemma recovers. Lemma looks to switch the field, but no one there to receive it.
He's saying, what was it, John, before the game, Woniak was telling us that it was a lot like here, where they had to literally push snow off the field in Arizona. And obviously you don't come to expect weather like that in Arizona, especially when you make decisions on preseasons.
Nealis with the ball over the top. A mistake from Smith, but Bilyeu is able to cover for him. Barlow definitely a speed advantage against Graham Smith and Justin Bilyeu. Bezecourt now looking for an opening. Lindsay's able to block his cross, and he'll go out for a goal kick. Good job there from Jalen Lindsay, the young homegrown player from Sporting KC.
You know, one of the things I really enjoy about USL and the way the system is right now is that, you know, 10 years ago, this wasn't a system in place where you would actually see some movement from, you know, first teams and now the USL. And every single year you start seeing more and more players get an opportunity here at the USL and really kind of take it to another level. And next thing you know, a week or two later, they're starting up, you know, at least on the bench with the first team. And that's what makes it fun, especially at the beginning of the year. You see all these young, talented players with some opportunities, and that's all you want when you're a young player, is to give it an opportunity. And USL has definitely provided that for these teams.
You look at a team like FC Cincinnati, who brought 13 players from their USL squad that set the record for points last year.
Which might come back to bite them, though, man. Let's be honest. I just started doing fantasy league with my 9-year-old, and I tell him, listen, whoever plays Cincinnati's playing with, you might want to think about that team.
Well, they go to Atlanta United this week, so it should be pretty good for them.
Trying not to kill poor FC Cincy so early in their major league existence, but went the what is that, U.S. Open Cup game, I think 2 years ago for Red Bull, and it was quite the atmosphere there.
Nippert Stadium will open up next week for MLS action, for the new stadiums built by FC Cincinnati. This one down the line. Cincinnati last year the flag bearer in USL for crowds, for performances, putting together a monster squad that was then knocked out in the playoffs by this New York Red Bull 2 team.
Yep. Yeah, they definitely have their number, FC Cincy, and unfortunately for them, I think there's going to be some growing pains. It is what it is. I don't know if this is going to be a team that kind of steps up, like Atlanta United did, a Chicago Fire did their first year, Seattle, and be a kind of a dominant force. I think they should probably put a lot of focus on that maybe U.S. Open Cup and see if they can come from there.
Lauro makes the save in the box, loses possession, and then clears it out.
Unfortunately, there's another time that Yanez should have done a little bit better job. I think the sun might have gotten his way right there when he went up for that header.
Alan Yanez, just 21 years old, already a full Guatemalan international, made his debut against Argentina last year. Played just about 30 minutes in that one. He's one of a few players that New York Red Bulls 2 have brought over as a loan internationally, with an option to buy, a chance for young international players to prove themselves here. Swope Park Rangers doing the same thing. We already mentioned Mbukali on loan from the Czech Republic, originally from Cameroon. A number of other players in similar situations.
Mbukali's been a solid performance so far here on the right-hand side. It took him about 15-20 minutes to kind of get in the flow, but a lot of success that the Swope team has had it on this right-hand side with Mbukali.
Yanez taken out by Mbukali, and you know, we talked about for Peter Vermees how he wants the system top down. Johnny Russell, Daniel Shallowy, Gerson Fernandez. That first team possession, but then you need the threat from those wings, and Mbukali, over-aggressive here, but has brought that in this one.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, nobody's going to complain if you get a little bit over-aggressive right there in kind of your offensive side of the ball. But, yeah, this is an opportunity here on the right-hand side to see Mbukali and see if he factors in the first team sooner rather than later.
Felipe Hernandez losing possession in New York Red Bulls 2. Right back at it. Lemma down the wing. Buckmaster looking for the feet of Epps. And Bilyeu comes over. Justin Bilyeu made his MLS debut for New York Red Bulls. USL debut for New York Red Bulls 2. Now on his third professional team. His second year with Swope Park Rangers. Puts that one out once again, but Bilyeu helped keep control for Swope Park Rangers in that first half as the pressure started to pour on.
Well, it's a tough job for both Bilyeu and Captain Smith there in the center of the park. They knew they were kind of fighting against a player like Bezecourt who has a lot of time. You know, anytime you're a center defender and you see a midfielder who has that much time and space, it's hard to kind of pick up your role and responsibility as on the forward side. And they're going to probably talk about it at halftime. I'm sure they did, making sure that there's players in front of them that defend a little bit better.
And Mbukali working his way across the field, now down the line. Alexander puts the cross in. Nealis knocks it away. Almost a corner kick for Swope Park Rangers before Lauro puts it over the far wall for his first home run of the season.
Well, you're starting to see John Woniak, coach of Red Bull, up and pacing the sideline a little bit more, making sure that his players do a little bit better job. It's been a good start here by Swope in the second half. After a dominating first 15, 20-minute performance by this Red Bull team, they've kind of lost their way a little bit.
Is that energy? Is it just impossible to maintain what they did in the first 20 minutes, or have you seen tactical shifts?
No, I think it's a combination of Swope being a little bit better job just in terms of maintaining possession, slowing the game down a little bit.
Kofi here in midfield. He's shown some sparks so far in this one. Kofi taking over that role in central midfield. An interesting case, a DC United Academy player who New York Red Bulls acquired the rights to in an MLS trade as Epps gets this cross off. It's alive in the box, and Dick brings it down, and then signs a homegrown contract with the club he's never been to before.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of system there. But Kofi's a solid player, and I think he's going to be a great find for this Red Bull 2 team, and I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of steps it up to the first team as well. Plays that kind of that role right in front of the back four, and I think he does a really good job in terms of just, you can see him just easy on the ball. Doesn't matter if he's playing kind of left or right or playing a long ball. He can do it all.
Lemo with the turnover. Scarlett's back to recover. Jean-Christophe Kofi, born in the Ivory Coast but grew up in Potomac, Maryland. We mentioned DC United Academy player, spent 4 years at UVA where he played with Derek Etienne Jr., former New York Red Bull 2 player, New York Red Bull guy.
Yeah, we won't hold it against them. There's better places in the state of Virginia to go to college. But
you still feel that strongly about it?
Yeah, of course I do. I'm always going to feel that. So, you know, as my brother-in-law, both brother-in-law went to UVA, my wife and I went to William & Mary, they said, you know that there's no rivalry, right? I'm like, yeah. So.
Epps looking to curl this one! And he just walks away! Marcus Epps' opening goal in his New York Red Bull career. And a classy one at that.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it at halftime. Epps, I thought, played a good first half. He's been dangerous the entire time on that top right-hand side. Here he has a little bit of time and space, and fortunately for us, we got a great review. You can see, again, Bezecourt, dangerous, but the ball falls Kofi, and he just puts his head down 25 yards out and bangs it.
At some point, you can't leave a guy space and time.
Too much time and space, and anytime you do, that just makes it so difficult for the goalkeeper. And maybe Dick could have done a little bit better job there, but it was a good goal and very well deserving for Epps.
And in the first half, all the momentum was New York Red Bull's way.
So true.
And Swope Park Rangers get the goal. Now in the second half, the opposite direction. New York Red Bulls 2 take a 2-1 lead here on that 55th minute strike by Marcus Epps. Epps now trying to make it a 2-goal lead, gets into the box and puts this one to the far post. And it's tipped just wide by Eric Dick.
And what a great job there by Epps. Looked like he might have had Barlow in the middle of the park, but he felt like he could finish it into that far post, but Dick gets a hand on it. You can see here he's got a lot of time again, puts his head up, tries to find that far post, and Dick with a great save and pushes it wide.
Marcus Epps playing on confidence right now in this one. His first ever game for New York Red Bulls 2. And Bukali back on the ground behind the play, and he's just gotten up and jogging back into the play. So head official holding time. It'll be Bezecourt to take Marcus Epps, 24 years old, out of Jackson, Mississippi. Has put his team up 1. New York Red Bulls 2 trying to double that lead. Scarlett with the header, and it's safely held by Dick.
Yeah, I thought it was just a matter of time since we saw the corner kicks in the first half. The second half, they were going to get some chances. There were big guys like Nealis or Scarlett getting on the end of these.
The crowd enjoying this one so far here. A perfect day for some soccer as we have suffered in the Northeast with weather. Buckmaster here is running. He's got options in the middle. Looking for Barlow. He puts it behind him, and Smith is able to clear. Held in by Swope. And now possession back on the red side. Kofi looking to play forward. Epps and Bezecourt here. Bezecourt's got some space for the left-footed shot. He gets knocked down as he shoots. It'll be a free kick from right on top of the 18.
Well, I got my money on Bezecourt stepping on this one and testing the keeper, but you can see here, loves pushing it to his left foot. First, it looks like it was a push. They know how dangerous Bezecourt is. The ball at his left foot. Fouled him unnecessarily, probably because now he gets a golden opportunity to kind of test Dick here.
You've got Bezecourt, the center back Jordan Scarlett, and Lemma standing over this one. Scarlett stepping up to move it around, but it would be a surprise to see him take this one. Jordan Scarlett, his third year.
No chance he's taking this one.
He's got 0 goals in his career. Bezecourt goes short for Stroud. Well done play by New York Red Bulls too, but the shot in the end a little soft.
I commend the center back, Scarlett, getting up there and trying to feel like he was going to be involved in it, but you knew that Bezecourt was going to do something, either take the shot or pass it off to Stroud. Probably a decision right there when he's over the ball if he wants to do the shot or pass. Felt like Stroud might have had a good space, putting it more closer into the inner center of the box, but personally I'd probably like Bezecourt just stepping on that and taking the shot and trying to test keeper Dick.
Stroud gets called for the foul. Stroud kept the level since coming on for Velo, you can say, for the Chester, New Jersey native. Come out the halftime locker room with some energy. He was the 83rd pick in the Super Draft in 2018. Him and his brother Peter playing in the New York Red Bulls Academy. His brother part of the USU 17 team. He's qualifying for the U17 World Cup. I believe playing for West Ham right now. It's not a bad academy to be a part of.
No, not at all. A couple of games that I saw Stroud play, I thought he played exceptionally well.
Barlow's out and running once again. Can he make it 2 on the day? The save by Dick. Barlow, a golden opportunity there. But you have to say, maybe could have done better.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. At some point, we're going to have to start questioning if he could do a little bit better with these opportunities that he's had. 2 or 3 times we've seen the exact same play that you're seeing in this replay right now. Has plenty of time and play to kind of slot it either near post or far post in that specific situation and put it right at Dick. And it's got to be a little bit better, a little bit sharper.
Bezecourt now. Early ball for Barlow. Knocked away by Alexander. Now Hernandez, who has the lone goal for Swope Park Rangers. Playing in that midfield alongside Juan Kuzain. Nealis, all 6'8" of him, it feels like, man, out there winning that header.
Big boy.
You can get updates and alerts all year long by following your club on ESPN.com. Search for New York Red Bulls 2 or Swope Park Rangers, then click the follow button to keep up with the latest news and scores. Plus, you can get reminders on when these 2 teams are playing their next match. Go to ESPN.com. and follow your club. You need to use every tool possible because there's about 18,000 soccer games going on at any time in particular. You could sit down and just watch ESPN Plus from morning to night.
Yeah, it is a beast, isn't it, that platform?
You can watch
amazing.
Serie A, Eredivisie, FA Cup, and then you can roll into USL and MLS.
I remember my mom was joking about this to me the other day where we were talking about how my kids have such a wonderful luxury of seeing soccer in any place and just turning on the TV, and you know, you might have 3 or 4 games on anytime you turn on TV. When I was growing up, I remember, whoop.
Barlow's onside once again, and this time he doesn't make a mistake. Tom Barlow, his 2nd goal here in the opening game of the season.
Well, it's good to see that Barlow, after we just, like minutes ago, questioned if he was going to do a little bit better job in terms of slotting these opportunities, and you see here, man, all the time in the world, and does a great job just looking up, seeing exactly where the keeper is. You see his head move up right there, sees where the keeper is, and able to slot it to that near post, and a well-deserved goal and a well-deserved lead here by this Red Bull team.
And for the 2nd time this half, acres of space for a Red Bull 2 player in that final third, right in the middle of the field. Last time it was Epps on the shot. This time Stroud picks up his first assist of the season.
You know, the most logical or easy thing to say is that maybe Bill Yu and Smith in the center of the park need to do a little bit better job, but it's hard for them because there's just so much time and space for these midfielders with Red Bull with the ball at their feet to really kind of know where they stand relative to, should we step up, should we not step up? I think the players in front of them have to do a little bit better job, kind of defending those midfielders. But in saying that, Barlow's done a great job taking advantage of his situation there in terms of knowing that he's got some free time to run at player. I mean, at least run at behind the flat back four.
Stroud, 11 assists last year, picks up his first one of 2019. He's going to have a large role on this New York Red Bull 2 team, especially if you don't have Bezecourt in this team for most of the season. He's going to be the attacking nucleus.
Yep, great call. I completely agree with you there.
We'll see Bezecourt. Probably only a few more minutes left in this one for him, as New York Red Bulls 2 have subs up and working. Swope Park Rangers yet to make a change, but it looks like they've got a couple players getting ready on that sideline. It looks like one of them, Ethan Vancourt Decker, a former New York Red Bull Academy player, coming back to his home state of New Jersey. So an attacking sub, that would be.
Yeah. Dave, before that Barlow goal, I was telling, as an example of that kind of wonderful growth of our leagues in the sport in this country. I remember, basically pleading with anybody in my neighborhood who had maybe have cable in 1986 to watch the World Cup. It was that sad. It was so difficult to watch soccer growing up. Now they've got a wonderful luxury.
Bezecourt here, his early shot off of Bill Yu. You could log on right now and just watch the 2018 World Cup again.
Exactly. It's just sad. I'm showing my age there, Dan.
Hey, I used to be a big L-Tree Knowledge fan because all I got was Univision and any L-Tree player who played in Europe.
Yeah.
So I just watched PSV and Stuttgart and whoever Rafa Marquez was playing for at the time.
Well, I was part of the kind of new evolution of video games. So I didn't know anything about hockey, but the best players I knew because of Sega Genesis hockey.
There you go. Now you're showing your age.
Now I'm showing my age.
Foul called here against Nealis. But we've talked about it from the pro level throughout.
It's amazing. It's amazing to see the growth, and just sometimes people lose focus, I think, and objectivity about, the World Cups and this and that, and don't see the kind of the foundation that's being grown right now. And we're going to be able to see, the natural evolution of this U.S. soccer taking it to another level because of all this infrastructure that's in place and, quite frankly, all the money that's been spent by some good owners in Major League Soccer to kind of take this sport to another level, and we're seeing it day by day.
Well, one of the things we hear about, frustrations from people in qualifying, is Fidel Escobar, who started for Panama, he got a lot of his pro experience here with New York Red Bulls too. Alan Yanez, a player who's going to play against you in qualifying for the U.S. for Guatemala. You're building the region, not just the U.S., not just Canada, which is going to make everyone a better player and better teams in the end. But you might get bit by going down and dropping some results.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at Red Bull when you think of Murillo and you think guys like Kamar Lawrence.
An opportunity to work here down that right side. Continuing to be a menace is Mbukali. And now Epps trying to break out. He earns the foul. And Swope Park Rangers has their two substitutes ready to go. We know Ethan Vancourt Decker will be coming on. It looks like he'll be coming on for Wilson Harris, who, of the attacking three, had the quietest game so far, Steve. And the other substitution coming on now, it looks like Killian Columbi. He comes on in place of Tyler Freeman.
I know that Swope is down 3-1. Obviously, they need to make some changes in terms of trying to get back into this game. Love to see this Red Bull team be very smart now going forward. You got a 2-goal lead. You're now entering the almost 70-minute mark around there, 67, 68 minutes marks. You got about 20-plus minutes to play. Like, this is the time where you kind of you truly be professional about this. How do you manage the minutes? How do you manage possession? To be smart and not to give up anything right now and get this team, the Swope team, back in the game.
Two players coming on that Coach Wolnick will be familiar with. I mentioned Vancourt Decker, a Red Bull Academy player, went to UConn in the area as well as transferring and eventually ending up at Rutgers. And then Killian Columbi, an Iona graduate, as this one gets floated aimlessly to the far post. Also a player who tried out for New York Red Bulls in the last offseason, ended up not making the team out of PSG Academy and finding his way to Kansas City.
We saw Decker right there. A smart play, freeing up.
Vancouver Decker scored the opening goal in the last preseason game for Swope Park Rangers, a 5-0 win against college opposition. Trying to bring that to this team. A lot of these players for Swope Park Rangers signing on in the middle or end of last season, so this will be their first full season with the squad. For New York Red Bulls too. The one substitution at halftime. We expect a second one coming soon for Bezecourt, as you see the replay there. Yanez, it's been a battle for him all day.
Yeah, it's been a tough battle for him for there. Did a great job getting himself between the ball and the man and picking up the foul.
For a young defender who's struggling 1v1 in moments like that, as an experienced player, what's your direction? How do you try and get control first before you can build on it?
See, the one thing that I think, if I'm going to be critical of Yanez's performances today is he's got to recognize, on the other side, the player that you're going to play against, is he a little bit quicker? Is he a little bit sharper? What's his biggest strengths? And obviously, the player he's playing against today has, is very athletic. And so, as a defender, I'd always say, okay, then I want to make sure that that player is not running at me, that I'm always right next to him. And so if he can push up a little bit and I think be a little bit more of a force in terms of his first touch, then I think Yanez will have a little bit easier way here on the left-hand side.
And consistently, Mbukali's been able to get comfortable, size him up, and run at him.
You just don't want him running at you. I mean, you're okay if you kind of step up and don't allow him to turn. Like right here is a good example where he can step up and not give him any space, because the last thing you want to do is give him space.
Graham Smith, the captain, second year with Sporting Kansas City. University of Denver, which has become a soccer powerhouse under Jamie Franks. Andre Shinashiki tying the record for goals scored last year at that DU program. A host of other players coming through to the pro ranks.
It seems a big commitment in terms of just sports in general there at Denver. I mean, you see, they took over lacrosse there for a while, and now soccer, there's been a big commitment there. So that athletic program's taken it to new levels the last decade.
You get a chance to go ski, snowboard, and play
It's a
some
good life.
college sports.
Why not?
Why not? Life could be good. Swope Park Rangers here. You see Paulo Nagamura rolling the dice with those two substitutions. He needs 2 quick goals here to try and steal a result to open the season on the road. This one to the far post. Chance to put it back in on goal, and Evan Loro, trying to be safe, puts it over the crossbar.
I like the play there by Loro. It was a little awkward in terms of the bounce and didn't want to take it too much of a risk here. And as you can see right here, he just kind of sees it dipping in, and you know what, I'm just going to swap this away, and if I get to give up a corner, I'll give up a corner.
Juan Kuzain there on that far post, getting the final touch to it. So another corner kick coming here. Ayub Alak with the right-footed outswinger. Knocked down at the near post. Red Bulls 2 defending with 11, so no one to clear it to. And now Lindsay will turn it back into the attack. Final 20 minutes to play here at MSU Soccer Park. David Goss and Steve Jolly on the call for you on ESPN Plus. The opening game of the 2019 USL Championship season. Bill Yu looking for a teammate.
A little bit out of place there, Bill Yu, at the top of the box, but yeah.
As a center back, you get that one chance to
give
shine.
Him kudos for giving it a try. Here's Stroud. Stroud, I'd like to see a little bit more involved in this game right now. You got a good lead. Maybe demand the ball a little bit more at your feet. Start becoming more engaged and involved in the game.
Slide tackle, and then the call goes against the substitute, Columbi, and he gets the first yellow card of the game.
Yeah, how many times have we seen a player, point to a ball after they do a foul and say, well, I got the ball. It doesn't really matter. If you come behind and you come through a player, you're going to be called for a foul.
Killian Colombe not happy with that call at all.
It's like Bilyeu might be subbed out right now.
It looks like it'll be Alexander, who was looked to be a little bit injured before, so Lindsay's going to swap wings. Mark Segbers, also a University of Wisconsin graduate, was part of that team with Tom Barlow, got drafted 9th last year by the New England Revolution. Ended up playing a bulk of the season last year in USL on loan with Orange County SC. It was the #1 team in the Western Conference, had 19 games with them, 2 goals, 4 assists, and now his first year with Swope Park Rangers. So Segbers will go in at right back. Lindsay will slide over to left back.
Man, you can see how cutthroat it is, even being a #1 draft choice for a team. It's tough.
There's a lot of players out there now.
Yeah.
You see with both these teams the amount of turnover of guys who Andrew Tenari was wearing the armband a lot last year, and he's now playing with the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and they have a great squad put together there. But you get your chance, and then it's the next guy's turn if you haven't proved that you can do it at the next level.
Yeah, it's so true. Starting to see it more and more often, aren't we? At the end of the day now, Coach John Woniak, he's up on his bench. He'd like to see this team kind of finish off worst case scenario, giving up that 1 goal.
This one flicked on at the far post. Loro's out to take it, and the linesman saying no corner kick, so Loro able to save it. If you're a team like this New York Red Bull 2 squad where you want to play aggressive, you want to play high intensity, as Bezecourt,
that's got to be a red card. Contact
holding
above
his
the shoulders.
face. We will see what will happen here.
I have a question about why you give a call and not even give a card. Contact above the shoulder should be a red card, but
and it happened behind the ref. But you have your assistant referees and your 4th official there. I'm just putting it all out there, Steve.
It's the center official's first game of the year too, so I'll give him a break.
We're all knocking
as much
off some
as I don't
rust.
want to.
But if you're this New York team, you want to play aggressive, you want to push the game, but you're up 3-1. How do you manage these final 15 minutes? How does a team under Coach Wolonek throughout the season manage leads in this style?
Well, you know, quite frankly, I'm surprised that Bezecourt is still on the field. But in saying that, we have a luxury of having Bezecourt on the field, so he needs to be the guy that kind of puts the ball at his feet and kind of maintains the kind of the possession and the kind of the flow of the game a little bit. Stroud obviously entered in the second half. I'd like to see him a little bit more involved. But you know, you don't want to be in these kind of situations where you're isolating one of their better players.
And Bukali's cross into the feet of Nealis, who handles that one calmly.
And this is what I like to see with Kofi. Kofi, I think, had a very solid game. Him finding Bezecourt and then Stroud, exactly what we want to see.
Stroud here one-on-one with the center back Smith. Looking into the path of Epps, and it's handled well by Lindsay. And Bukali can't save this one from going out. Excuse me, offside on Mbukali, who came back from the attacking half of the field.
You just got the feeling that Mbukali is going to be the player that kind of is going to be the difference maker here in the final 10, 15 minutes. So Giannis is, you know, this is a big ask for him. You know, obviously Mbukali might be a better little athlete than Giannis, but Giannis has to do his job defensively and making sure that he doesn't give Mbukali any more options.
Hussein trying to clear his lines, a number of red jerseys around him. And then finally Colombe sprays that one out, the opposite side of the field. Stroud into the feet of Bezecourt, who's wearing that captain's armband now with Velo off at halftime. New York Red Bulls too, it looks like Ben Mines.
Yeah.
He's putting on his jersey, getting ready to come on here as a substitute. Collision, the call goes against Kofi. And Alak still down holding his face. You never want to see that, so
yeah, you want to make sure kind of get through this game. You don't want to see some nasty injuries, and Alak's taking his time to get up, and he's checking for blood, but fortunately there's nothing there.
So as we take a look at this injury, but We said it, Ben Mines getting ready to come on here. Still just 17 years old, homegrown player. Scored in his MLS debut.
Yeah, I remember that.
Is given some time off the bench. What are you looking for from this young player here in his second year as a professional?
Well, let's be honest. This league is so important for guys like Ben Mines. I think he's a wonderful example of a young player who, decides maybe not to go the college route and wants to kind of do his chance at professional soccer, and now he gets to do it at this level. So when he does get opportunities to play games, especially at this level, he's got to capitalize on it. He's got to kind of learn from some more experienced guys like Velo and maybe like a Bezecourt. Take kind of what his personal strengths are when he comes onto the field. But there's no question he's a talented player, and there's no question that this Red Bull system will give him plenty of opportunities to kind of do his thing.
Scarlett with the interception here. Swope Park Rangers trying to force the attack as they need 2 goals in these final 15 minutes to try and steal a road point to open up the season. A chance for Vancourt Decker. He was onside, just could not find the mark, but a huge mental mistake there from this Red Bull 2 back line.
Yeah, there's really no reason whatsoever that he got on the end of that. Scarlett Lewis has to be a little bit better in terms of opening himself up and know where the runs are coming from.
So that'll be it for Vincent Bezecourt. 79 minutes of work here. His return to USL. His first USL game in over a year. And you got to say, a bright one.
Man, he's good.
For him.
He is good. There's no question about it. I can see some coaching staff of Red Bull first team CJ Browns here at this game. Some management here for Red Bull is at this game, and there's no question that Bezecourt left a good taste in their mouth, knowing that he can take it to the next level in terms of being involved in the first team. He's just a talented player.
So Mines will come on. It looks like, as we expected, Jared Stroud will slide in to that number 10 role, and Mines will go out wide. Although when you talk to Red Bull coaching staffs, they tell you there is really no number 10. Guys swap in, guys swap out. It really, those 3 attacking positions are interchangeable.
Yeah, I mean, whether it be at USL level or the first team level, we see so many players kind of fit into those roles. You might have 7 or 8 players that kind of fit in that final 3 spots.
Big win there by Lemma on Mbukali. Now Mines, his first chance to touch the ball. Tries to find the feet of Epps, and the slide tackle made by Lindsay.
His first time with the ball at his feet. I'm always a big proponent of when you get the inside the game as a substitution, you make simple passes until you start feeling a little bit of flow. Like everything, his first 5 or 6 passes are simple until you feel like kind of the speed of the game, and then you can try something a little bit riskier.
We talked about Ben Mines, his opportunity to get games here in the USL Championship. What you have to love about this setup is he actually played 16 professional soccer games on loan from the academy while still committed to Stanford before he could decide, is this the route I want to go, which is a luxury no other sport in America has, and other sports around the world, you're not really considering university, but to be able to say, hey, this is the level. If you're here, why not stay rather than a complete guessing game? And then on the backside, or you go to Stanford, which isn't a bad school.
Well, to each its own. I might have stayed at Stanford, but, it is what it is, and he knows that, he wanted to kind of take it to the next level. So kudos to him, and kudos to U.S. Soccer as a whole for providing a platform for a player to make that decision.
And we'll see for both these teams a number of academy players. Juan Kuzain, as well as Felipe Hernandez, both played a host of USL minutes while still college eligible before deciding to sign either USL or MLS deals.
Yeah. Yeah, for John Woniak, these final 10 minutes, these are important 10 minutes, I think. When you start building your team and what you're expecting from your players as being professionals, the last thing you want to do when you have a game in hand is to give up goals in that final 10 minutes. We know they gave up a pretty tough goal there in the end of the first half. You want to finish off these games and use this game as kind of maybe an example. If you can finish this off, you can say, okay, this is what you don't want to do in terms of giving up a bad goal at the end of a half or beginning of a half, and this is what you want to do. You finish off the game, and you're able at the end of the day to say you had a good debut.
And Bukali has it knocked away by Yanez. And Yanez wins that battle.
It's a good play. It's a tough guessing game with Yanez right there. As I said, I think it'd be better off if he kind of stepped up a little bit before Bukali has an opportunity to run at you, but a good defensive play there by Yanez.
Well, after week one, who will be up, who will be down? Where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL Championship Power Rankings, only on USLChampionship.com. 36 clubs now in the USL Championship to keep track of, so you got to make sure you bookmark USLChampionship.com, because that's where you will find all your updates, all your news, all your analysis throughout the 2019 season.
And be involved, watch games. I mean, it's such a wonderful opportunity to watch young players kind of take their professional careers to another level. And how many times have we shown over the last couple of years of USL that some of these players become big-time first-teamers?
And some players, young players you're seeing for the first time. Other players, as Mines gets down the line, but he's offside. More experienced players getting a second chance.
Yeah.
And I remember watching Aaron Long out here on the field for the first time, and people
great
saying,
example.
"Oh, that guy's an okay center mid," and you're like, "No, I think he might be a really good center back." And then all of a sudden, what is it? 3 years later, he's starting for the U.S. national team, and a lot of the guys out here still finding their feet, learning the professional game, but you see a lot of gems throughout USL Championship.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, sometimes you have to be lucky. And fortunately for all these players, they're given an opportunity to be lucky again to some degree in terms of being able to show their wares, and it's just great to see.
So final substitution coming. Sebastian Elney, a rookie out of the University of Maryland, is going to come on, and Tom Barlow, 2 goals in his first game of the season as what could be a breakout year for a guy who finished 2018 with 7 goals in the final 6 or so weeks of action, and now 2 goals in the opening game.
You talk about a player who has an opportunity. It's Barlow. I love the fact that he put two away, but he had like 5 or 6 other opportunities. And let's be honest, as much as we don't like to think about it, if you're a Red Bull fan, Bradley is not getting any younger. And so, at some point, these players are going to get some opportunities at a big stage. And for Barlow, he's got a platform here that he needs to take advantage of. And today, I think he did a good job by getting 2 in the back of the net. And quite frankly, could have easily had a hat trick.
Vancourt Decker not able to line that one up. Sebastian Elney, just 21 years old, out of University of Maryland, was one of the top prospects when he was in high school, Union Academy, trained over in Europe, played with the U.S. Youth National Team. And as we said, some guys develop early, some guys develop late. He's getting his first professional shot here with New York Red Bulls, too.
I remember some of my friends in U.S. Soccer telling me about him.
Buckmaster goes by 2. Elney, growing up in Boca Raton, of course, where Josie Altidore played a lot of his time. Ended up training with Tottenham and a number of other clubs in Europe. Was never able to lock down a contract, and then went and won a national championship with Maryland last year in his senior year. And now didn't get drafted, but ends up on New York Red Bulls too.
Again, the beauty of USL is he's given an opportunity to become a professional, and that's all you really want. It's up to him now to kind of take it to another level.
Stroud flicks that one on. Elney wins it for his first possession, plays Ben Mines through. The young homegrown player, one-on-one now with Dick, and Eric Dick steps up with a huge save.
Well, Elney with a good touch there for Ben Mines to break through. You can see this replay. Nope, that's not Barlow. We thought it was in terms of how many times he had this opportunity, but Mines is definitely going to want this one back. What a great chance there, and a great save by Dick.
And Eric Dick playing mind games. Mines is waiting for him to come out, and he didn't, as you should as a goalkeeper,
his head come up
his
a couple times. Exactly.
Mines ended up shooting it right into his body, which, as you said, we saw Barlow do a couple times in this game. You just saw Ben Mines on the field put his head down and yell at himself for a moment. A young player, that's the opportunity he wants to live on. He's a fast player. He's going to come in off those wings, and if he can get a ball down the middle of the field like that, that's going to be where he feasts.
Yeah, and he's going to want that story of, hey, you know what? Maybe I wanted more minutes, but I came on and I did my job. Coach asked for me to kind of get in there and do something, and if he could have put that one in the back of the net, it would have been a good day for Ben Mines.
Kofi coming back.
Still a couple minutes left for him. Never know.
Still a couple minutes left for Swope Park Rangers. Try and pull that first one back and put New York under pressure, but it's the Red Bulls, too, who are out and breaking. Elney down the right wing. 3-on-3 soccer right now. Elney getting all the way to the end line, trying to cut it back for Stroud, and Smith is there to intercept it.
Well, Elney could have done a little bit better job, but I'd really like to see Stroud and maybe Mines be a little bit more helpful in terms of their runs. They both kept the same run. You know, like somebody's got to break through. You know he's going to probably pay it back 45 degrees. So for Stroud and Mines, you got to help out Elney a little bit more there.
So Elney, an active first few minutes on the field. Lama's had a very composed game in central midfield. Now Mines with a little bit of space once again. He's got Segbers on his back. Dick makes the first save, still alive in the box, and then Eric Dick cleans it up.
Well, there's no question that Dick has kept this Swope team in the game. Coming up big in the first half time and time again. Guys like Barlow here with Mines cutting through. Mines going to want to probably not think about this keeper after this game too much, because that's two big saves there by Dick.
Eric Dick in his second year of pro soccer. He's had to deal with a potent New York Red Bull to attack. 21 shots in total. 14 of those shots have been on goal for New York Red Bulls too.
I mean, and some of them have been, you know, just him coming out of his line and going 1v1 and kind of point blank, making up big saves.
Evan Loro's done his job when he's had to. Gave up the goal late in the first half. But, Steve, it looks like...
That was a good goal by Hernandez. So don't want to throw Loro under the bus too much, man. He's kind of been, I think, a really good pro. Obviously, he's behind a guy like Robles and Mara, and those are two great pros as well who he's able to kind of learn from on a daily basis. And today you can see, you know, I think is well-deserved to get out of this game with just giving up one, because Hernandez had a great goal in the first half.
And you mentioned at the end of the first half, after that goal, Coach Wolenek's going to get into them a little bit in the halftime locker room. What did you see from the second half performance?
Well, you know, it wasn't necessarily a great start to the second half for this Red Bull team, but they kind of settled in a little bit, took the advantage of their opportunities. Barlow getting that second goal probably kind of changed everything. But this is a Red Bull team that I think, you know, no offense to the Swope team, you know, they're just more talented. They have a great system here in Red Bull, and they have players who, more importantly, know the system. And so guys can step up and do their thing. And there we got to see Scarlett, you know, with a good save in terms of what he needed to do defensively. But this is going to be, for me, you know, I think one of the more dominating USL teams, just because they're just so deep, Red Bull. Red Bull 1 and USL 2.
71 goals last year. Was the second highest goal-scoring team in the USL Championship. Of course, winning the regular season and postseason 3 years ago. Excuse me. Going to three straight Eastern Conference Finals. Yes.
Time flies.
Time does fly, but
I still remember that game. Was 5-1, right? 2016.
Vincent Bezecourt with the goal. Brandon Allen with a hat trick.
Yeah.
Allen playing this year with the Tampa Bay Rowdies. So he looks to continue to score goals in USL.
You mentioned that too. That lineup. I mean, that roster there in Tampa Bay. They're trying to do some special things too. I know they have big aspirations in terms of maybe trying to get an MLS team at some point. So they're spending some money on some good players.
They've gotten some of the top performers from USL, and they've brought in some experienced international players who have played in the Premier League, the Bundesliga, UEFA Champions League, Europa League. You bring that up against kids out of college.
Yeah, it's different.
Different world. Can be successful every once in a while. Tampa Bay Rowdies looking for a bounce-back year. It's going to be an interesting year here in the USL Championship. 4 new clubs in the Eastern Conference, 3 in the West. But you, on top of that, have 2 teams moving conferences, a few teams like the Richmond Kickers moving to USL League One. We will see what the 2019 season has to hold. But for the start here, Steve, a 3-1 win for John Wolenek's side to start the year with a win. Who stood out for you? What were you impressed by?
Oh, man, it's Bezecourt for me. You know, obviously, we're going to talk about the 2 goals with Barlow, but Bezecourt was a different level today.
And for this Swope Park Rangers team, a tough trip to start the year. They had it 1-1 at halftime, not able to hold on in the second half. And in the end, New York Red Bulls 2 behind 2 goals by Tom Barlow, one in the 26th, one in the 62nd, and a gorgeous strike by Marcus Epps in the 55th minute get the win. We'll be back here on ESPN Plus in just a moment with our post-game reactions and full game highlights coming up next.
With MSG Go, the game goes where you go. So you can watch live Red Bulls games anywhere you want. It's free and easy because if you get MSG, you get MSG Go. Watch your favorite team wherever you are with MSG Go, presented by Lexus. Download it for free where you get your apps.
Swope Park Rangers have been to 2 of the last 3 USL Championship. New York Red Bulls 2, the last 3 Eastern Conference Finals. We knew it'd be a good one. David Gotson, Steve Jolly on the call for the opener. Florian Velo talking to his old teammate. His side got it done, a 3-1 win for New York Red Bulls 2. Final thoughts on this one?
David, it was a dominating performance offensively. You start with the midfield with Bezecourt. I thought Epps had a great game, and then Barlow put the ball in the back of the net, and that's what you need, and you get a good result here, 3-1 for Red Bull 2.
Out shooting Swope Park Rangers 23-8 in this one, 14-1 on target. Eric Dick, a huge performance in goal for Swope Park Rangers, but it wasn't quite enough. Marcus Epps gets a goal in his New York Red Bull 2 debut in his 3rd year in the USL. And as we said it, Tom Barlow looking to make that starting center forward spot his own here in 2019. 10 goals last year, 2 already in the first game here as Coach Wolenek's side takes the 3-1 win. Coming up, New York Red Bulls 2 more home games, so come on out to MSU Soccer Park, and the next one on March 24th against Nashville SC and Memphis. Swope Park Rangers return home in the next one. It's a 3-1 win under the sun to start the 2019 USL Championship season. For myself, Steve Jolly, thanks so much for joining us. Have a great day.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.